We are counting down the top 5 hidden risks every Dollarama shopper needs to know before their next bargain run. From sneaky fees that turn a low sticker price into a pricey surprise, to safety hazards, chemical dangers, worker complaints, and troubling supply chain gaps, each entry reveals a new reason to pause before grabbing that deal. Let us start with number 5 and why the cheapest items might actually cost you more. On December 3, 2024, Dollarama agreed to pay $2,643,718.75 to settle a national class action lawsuit over environmental handling fees. Those extra charges added to items like batteries, electronic toys, and light bulbs. For years, shoppers across Canada paid more than the shelf price, often without realizing it. The lawsuit said Dollarama failed to clearly show the full price, including eco-fees, on shelf labels, making it easy to miss the real total until checkout. Eligible customers who filed claims received about $7.50 each, with purchase dates stretching from late 2019 in Quebec and from 2021 in other provinces through July 2023. Dollarama denied any wrongdoing, but issued new staff memos in June and July 2023, requiring stores nationwide to display the complete price, eco-fee included, right where shoppers make their decisions. The lesson is simple. A low sticker price is not always the end of the story. Before you grab that bargain, ask for the full register total and double-check for hidden add-ons that can quietly drain your wallet. A single mislabel can turn a cheap toy into a medical emergency. In 2018, Health Canada recalled over 15,000 craft dough toys sold at Dollarama after discovering the packaging claimed they were gluten-free, but they were not. One parent reported an allergic reaction in a child with celiac disease. The dough, sold in resealable bags with molds and marked with the UPC number 6678883387733, was pulled from shelves nationwide. Health Canada instructed families to stop using the product immediately, and Dollarama offered refunds with no receipt required. The recall notice made it clear, even a small error in labeling can put vulnerable kids at risk. Fast forward to May 2025. The Oracare Baby Brush Toothbrush, Model 3121361, lots JSM 7821 and JSM 8856, was recalled after its silicone handle was found to break into pieces during normal use. No injuries were reported, but the threat was real. A broken piece could become a choking hazard for babies or toddlers. Dollarama halted sales and issued a public notice advising parents to return the brush for a full refund. Both cases share a warning. Safety-critical items, especially for children, demand extra scrutiny. Before buying toys, baby gear, or anything that goes in a child's mouth, check Health Canada's recall database and match the model and lot numbers. A quick search can mean the difference between a safe bargain and a dangerous mistake. Lab testing by Environmental Defense in 2022 raised a new kind of warning for Dollarama shoppers, one that cannot be spotted on a price tag or a label. Out of 20 Dollarama products tested, 5 contained chemicals regulated under the Canadian Environmental Protection Act. That is 1 in 4 items flagged for toxic substances, with findings that hit categories most families rely on: headphones, pencil cases, and activity trackers. Some electronics showed lead levels above federal limits. Receipts from every store tested contained bisphenols, a chemical linked to hormone disruption. In other cases, products had phthalates and PFAS, chemicals tied to reproductive issues and cancer. The concern goes beyond a single bad batch or a rare recall. Health and environmental groups point out that these chemicals can build up in the body over time, especially when they are used daily or by children. There is no safe level of lead, and even low exposures add up. For households where budget constraints mean buying more from discount stores, the risk is not just about one product. It is about repeated, long-term contact with items that may seem harmless. Dollarama says its products meet Canadian safety rules, but the report's findings show that regulation alone does not always guarantee peace of mind. For shoppers, the safest move is to be extra cautious with anything that touches skin or food, especially for kids. If you are picking up headphones, lunch containers, or school supplies, check for certifications, read labels closely, and remember that the lowest price can come with hidden costs that last far longer than the receipt. Behind every low price at Dollarama stands a workforce stretched thin. Employees across Canada have described a daily reality of overwork, low wages, and schedules that shift without warning. In hundreds of recent reviews, staff point to impossible expectations, covering multiple roles at once, racing to restock shelves, and handling long lines at the register. One sales associate in Tillsonburg, Ontario, summed up the mood: overworked and underpaid. Others from Richmond Hill to Summerside mentioned minimal hours, no growth or training, and a sense of being treated as just a number. The pressure only grew during the pandemic. In 2020 and 2021, workers in Quebec staged protests over what they called unsafe conditions. Official inspections by the province's Workplace Safety Board led to 11 fines and over 100 correction notices for Dollarama stores that failed to meet basic health standards. Employees reported having to improvise using cardboard, plastic wrap, and taped-up boxes to create makeshift barriers at cash registers while waiting weeks for proper plexiglass screens. In some stores, distancing rules were nearly impossible to enforce with so few staff on shift. Dollarama's management responded with temporary wage bumps and a year-end bonus, but many workers say these measures fell short of addressing chronic understaffing and burnout. Labor advocates argue that aggressive cost-cutting on payroll does not just affect employees, it can also put shoppers at risk, as corners get cut on cleaning, stocking, and even basic safety. For anyone hoping that low prices mean a smooth shopping experience, the reality behind the scenes tells a different story. Dollarama's promise of low prices depends on a global supply chain that stretches across more than 25 countries, with more than half of its products sourced from China. At the heart of its sourcing practices is the Vendor Code of Conduct, a document that, on paper, bans forced and child labor. But critics say this code leaves a gaping hole. It does not explicitly prohibit recruitment fees charged to factory workers. That omission matters. In many manufacturing hubs, recruitment fees are a common way for labor brokers to extract money from workers desperate for jobs. These fees can run into hundreds or even thousands of dollars, an impossible sum for many families. When a worker borrows to pay, they often end up trapped in debt, unable to leave their job until the fee is repaid. International labor watchdogs call this debt bondage, and it is recognized as one of the main drivers of modern slavery in global supply chains. Investor groups and non-government organizations have flagged this risk for years. In 2019, the Shareholder Association for Research and Education warned that Dollarama's vendor code allows suppliers to sign off on no forced labor without ever checking if their labor brokers are charging recruitment fees. Peers like Walmart, Target, and Unilever have added explicit bans on these fees to their supplier codes, but Dollarama's policy remains silent. Shareholder proposals at the 2024 annual meeting called for stronger audits and public reporting on labor risks. The company responded by referencing its general ban on forced labor and its commitment to responsible sourcing, but stopped short of naming recruitment fees or promising independent recruitment-focused audits. Unlike some major retailers, Dollarama does not publish a list of its overseas suppliers. Without third-party audit results or public supplier data, shoppers have no way to verify how products are made or how workers are treated. Critics argue this lack of transparency makes it nearly impossible to catch abuses before they reach store shelves. Self-assessment surveys and whistleblower hotlines exist, but labor experts say these tools rarely detect hidden risks like debt bondage, especially in fast-moving, price-driven supply chains. For Canadian families trying to stretch a dollar, the ethical cost of a bargain is often invisible. When a retailer's code leaves out key protections, it can enable the very risks that surface in product recalls, chemical exposures, and worker complaints. The root cause is not just one bad batch or a single underpaid worker. It is a sourcing model that prizes low cost over robust oversight. Until policies catch up to best practices, the safest move for shoppers is to ask tough questions about where and how goods are made, and to demand real transparency from the brands behind the price tag. Across all 5 risks, one pattern stands out. The lowest price often hides the highest uncertainty. In discount shopping, what's missing from the label matters as much as what's printed. True value isn't just price, it's clarity, safety, and accountability. Cheap should never mean blind trust.